Hello everybody, you're looking at our Cercidiphyllum Japonicum, and otherwise known as the gingerbread tree. It's supposed to smell like burnt sugar or gingerbread in the autumn as the leaves colour up, and at the moment it's just this stick in a pot that I bought the end of last summer, and I slip potted it into this larger pot. It came in a not much bigger than a blooming egg cup, if I'm honest, and well, my back has been turned when I wasn't looking. It suddenly sprung to life, as you can see, all the way up where I don't want any life, because I want to shorten this tree down because it's far too tall. So this is going to be a timey-wimey video. I'm going to film what I'm doing now, and then as the next couple of months go by, I'll film a bit here and there, so that by the time I present you with this video, then hopefully I have something a little bit better than a stick to show you. Before I start working on the roots, I'm going to chop this top off and make it a little bit easier to handle. There's a dead portion here anyway, which was obviously where it had been chopped at the nursery, but and I'm just going to chop it just above where these two buds have already popped, and I don't know whether I shall keep it at this height. I may chop it again if I get more buds popping down below, but I honestly don't know, and I can't find anything on the internet to tell me how well these back bud, so I don't want to chop it any more than I have, in case I find that it won't back bud onto oak wood or something. I can make a larger tree, that's easy enough, but if I kill it, all I've got is a dead tree. We'll get it out of this pot and have a look at the roots. The pot was bigger than I remembered. Perhaps it was the catalpa that I bought that was in the egg cup. We didn't really get a lot of outward growth from the roots for what was just a few weeks left, summer really, that was left. But we'll try and just tease these out. I'm going to leave some of this stuff on rather than bare root it entirely. Because I've already treated with nematodes for vine weevil, and if I completely bare root it, any nematodes that are left in here, which will give protection over the next few weeks and months, will be obviously washed away. Obviously a good way of getting a tree to grow well is to put it in the soil in the ground, but I don't have a lot of space for putting trees in the ground, as it were. So the next best thing is to put it in a large container or pot. And one of the things I like to do is get trees used to being in a shallow container from the beginning. So if you're going to have a big pot that's not a deep pot, the next best thing is a wide pot. And what I use, you may have seen me use before, is a seed tray. Not one of those really flimsy, horrible, fold up in the middle if you put too much weight in them, but a good, strong seed tray, lots of drainage, and the tree can sit in that, and it can push its roots out, and those questing roots can go quite a long way, which will also hopefully pull out the base of the tree and create a better nabari. That's my theory, that's my story, that's what I'm sticking to. So and so far I've had good success. Trees seem to thrive quite well in these seed trays. They do take up a fair bit of space on a bench, that's one drawback, but I suppose you can't have everything. Okay, let's get it potted. It takes quite a surprising amount of soil to fill one seed tray, I always find. Okay, adding some controlled release fertiliser. Nice generous amount. I want this tree to put on a lot of growth. As I said, I have no idea how well they back bud, but most deciduous trees will back bud. It's usually coniferous trees that won't, although there are exceptions to that rule as well. But obviously one of the chief benefits from this tree, as far as I can tell, is it has very pretty leaves, and looking at these, you know, it's got a very pretty very pretty spring colouring to these leaves. They are almost pink, but they also have fabulous autumn colour, and then this lovely autumn scent of gingerbread. So on a big tree, to have lots of leaves, to have a big canopy smelling of gingerbread would be obviously ideal. So I'm going to plunge that into the middle, making sure that all the roots are radial. Now, as I say, hopefully this gives this tree lots of room to spread its roots out and go questing around for that fertiliser. I'm going to plant it a little deeper than it was, not much, just a little, and fill in these gaps around the edge. Because although this has got an interesting sort of lean to the left there, it hasn't got much in the way of taper. So it would be nice to get a little bit more taper into the tree. So, okay, so I'll put, as I say, give us a drink, put it on the bench in the shade house, and film it later in the year, so I can give you a nice timey-wimey video. It's the 22nd of May, and I am a little disappointed. I chopped it hoping that it would break down low and I would get some more growth down here. I want to grow this into a fairly large broom style tree, but I wanted to try and get a little bit of movement and trunk taper, whereas this is just very long and very straight, and I'd hope by chopping it at its highest or lowest bud rather, it would sprout, but it has sprouted. It sprouted right down here, and I was hoping for something in this area. I'm just going to chop it and hope for the best that it will then shoot. I have a shoot here, so I'm not going to kill the tree. If necessary, that will take over as a leader. I was hoping for something more in this area, so I'm going to chop it here. So very interesting, the leaves. Not getting anything from them, but supposedly in the autumn, as they turn a spectacular autumn colour, and they also smell very strongly of gingerbread. And apparently when you have a biggish tree in a park, as they're often grown, you can smell the gingerbread on the breeze before you see them. So I want to grow a fairly big head on this broom style tree, but I didn't want that dead straight piece, so there we go. That's back on the bench. It's the 12th of June today, and finally though the weeds seem to be growing faster than the tree. Finally, this Cercidiphyllum Japonica, otherwise known as the gingerbread tree, has getting its feet under it and is starting to grow. I'm glad I chopped it back because I have got this one single bud to pop down lower, and so it is going to grow away now and become the new leader. I don't think come the autumn we're going to have a splendid celebration of the smell of gingerbread wafting around the whole garden from this particular tree, but it is growing, and I probably could have taken that off a little bit closer, but I'm going to leave it because I don't want to risk this now after it's taken so long to get going. I am going to have a bit of movement and a bit of taper, and we'll see. I think it'll probably be left alone for the rest of this season, but we'll come back to view it from time to time, and it may surprise me, and this may be a very dull video towards the end of the year, or it may be a very exciting video towards the end of the year. We shall see. Finally, the Cercidiphyllum, the gingerbread tree, has, well, it's got its legs under it at long last. I was beginning to wonder, it just didn't seem to be moving, but finally we've got 4 or 5 inches of growth, and I know it's not very exciting, but it's pleasing me that it's growing. We do seem to have some sort of slug or snail trail on here. I'll have to do something, come out with a torch maybe tonight and see if I can spot the critter. So yeah, just going to leave this, keep growing, and eventually it'll be a tree. Okay, so it's the 16th of August today, and the gingerbread tree, the Cercidiphyllum, I think that's how you pronounce it, is growing great guns. In fact, it's really, it's grown about a foot in the last month, really, so part of me's tempted to chop it, but at the same time I just want it to keep on growing, and I think I'm going to leave it and chop it in the spring just to get more taper, but I'm trying to build that a bit more of a chunky trunk. Also I'd like to have it straighten up that kink a little bit in there, but that'll blend in better as the years go by. Okay, so it's the 19th of September, and aside from doing a little bit of weeding, I'm not going to do anything with this tree today, but as you can see, if I pan up and up and up and up and up, the tree has put on a lot of growth this year. You know, it's practically, well, it's over 3 foot tall now. So I've just been growing it because I've been wanting to get a fat trunk, and it's thickened up nicely. It's as thick as my forefinger now, so that's good. Not a lot of weeds. If I wanted some more birch trees, I've got some nice little birch seedlings in here, but I'm trying to be good. We've got some less desirable weeds. I've just been allowing it to grow. One of the delights of this is the foliage, so I want to grow this into a fairly chunky tree. So in this stage of its development, I've just been allowing it to grow. Next spring it will be chopped quite hard, I think, possibly down to this sort of region, and allowed to grow again. That way we'll get some really nice taper and movement. At the moment it's a straight juvenile looking tree, but lovely heart-shaped foliage. It's the 30th of September and the wind's getting up, as you can see from the tree across the way, and it's Catharpa's, no, it's not the Catharpa, it's the gingerbread tree, the Cercidiphyllum. It's whipping about quite well, at least I know that for all that it's got its roots solidly into that pot, which is encouraging. I was going to shorten it anyway, so if it snaps off, it snaps off, I guess. Hope it doesn't. Fingers crossed. It's the 20th of October and the tree is growing really well. From the tabletop there, it's several inches over the top of the fence. It's, well, I guess it's 3.5 foot tall or so, and it is now slowly beginning to show a few of its autumn colours starting at the base. It's a beautiful sunny day, and as you can see, the sun is just wiping out the top part of the picture, so making it easy for you to see, but it has grown really well. These leaves are still very pretty with the variations in colour, but now they're, as I said, they're beginning to show this yellow, and more importantly, if I pick up the few that have turned fully and give them a bit of a squeeze and a crush, I can confirm that they do smell very strongly of gingerbread, which is nice. And I've heard that if you walk into a park that has a full-size one of these, you can smell the gingerbread on the wind. And so, yeah, that'll be nice when I get this into a bit more of a tree shape instead of this lanky beanpole. The chop here and the little shoot have now almost melded into one. We've got a strange little kink, but that's fine. My plans for this tree for next year, it'll stay in this pot, and I will chop it, and I will probably chop it in this area, and then hope to build a full-size canopy of in a kind of naturalistic broom style tree, essentially with the idea of having a big head on it so you get a lot of leaf and therefore a lot of the gingerbread smell. So I think that's probably enough for this one. It's been a longish video, I think, or it will be once I edit it all together. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching, it is really appreciated. Do the like, subscribe, comment thing if you would like to, and thank you again. Stay safe everybody, look after yourselves.